So, after one day of brainstorming and 2 weeks of intense labor in Godot, I did it. I made a small game, complete with sound effects. I made a game about watching paint dry. Alright, I know it sounds boring, but just hear me out for a sec. Here's the premise of the game. You get a job of high responsibility, to watch paint dry. You are in a park. You got a bench. You got your tools in an unusually scaled UI. And just when things started to feel good, I know it still sounds not promising, but I promise it's worth your while. So let's get to the gameplay, which by the way isn't actually that long. The game is only 2.5 minutes long and is playable on your browser without any downloads. So if you can and want to support me, please go and give it a try from the link in the description. Now if you want a first-hand spoiler-free experience you can leave now, but if you want to get the basic explanation of the controls and mechanics, stick around for a bit longer. You've got 5 tools, all with a different purpose. Select a tool based on the tooltip and use them on specific mobs that come to ruin the bench. The 2 placeable items, the signboard and the bed, when placed, can be clicked again in the world to empty the slot and place something else. When a normal man appears, place the sign. What was that? A blind man cannot see the sign? Well, he sure will feel this. Ah, the tired one. Either give him the hard metal feeling or a soft comfy feeling, the choice is yours. Hey, what a sweet little boy, he surely won't be a problem if he got what he deserved. An apple, of course. What was in your mind? And finally, so that was the game pretty much, but it seems there is still one more mob whose clip got corrupted and a few references and secrets too missing from the recordings, which I think you would enjoy. So if I managed to pique even a slither of interest in your mind about this game, why don't you go try it out? If you've got a few minutes on your hand, I would really appreciate your support. And if you do try it out, do tell me in the comments if you enjoyed it, or got harassed by bugs. If you've ever made your own game, you would know that this is not an easy job. There's a lot to manage. There's the code, the art, the sound, the game design. And the jobs keep increasing the bigger your idea gets, and that is the reason I wanted to make a small game. Like hear me out, the game you just saw. The game that will take you 2.5 minutes to finish. Took me 2.5 weeks to develop. Now this might feel like a bloated amount of days, but it really isn't. Everything you see in this game was made by me alone. Well, other than the sound part, as I got all my sounds from Pixabay and freesounds.org. So, if you see any indie game dev who's working hard, go show them some love and support if you like their work. Now, of course this job isn't easy, but that doesn't mean it's boring. It's fun as hell to think of an idea and making it real. Yes, finding bugs is annoying, but that feeling is balanced out by the joy of finally fixing one. That said, not all problems are as straightforward as fixing bugs. Sometimes, your code works exactly as intended, but the results still aren't what you want them to be. Like look here, while making the spawning system for this game, I originally just used a random number generator and let it pick which side the mob will come from, but that felt not good. The game would select the left spawner like 5 times in a row and then switch it up. The random didn't feel random enough. I mean, if you have a big enough sample, yes, it feels random. But when you give the game only 2 choices, the results might feel a little unrandom. The problem is that, when I just ask the game to randomly select one mob or one spawner, both of the spawners have an equal chance of spawning. It means that after a spawner is selected, in the next round, it still has the same amount of chances to spawn again, and thus can lead to be selected repeatedly. So I thought of the idea to implement a weightage system. Basically both spawners will get the same weight assigned to them at the start. But when a spawner is selected once, say, the left one, its weight is decreased by 10, and the weight of the other spawner is increased by the same amount. Think of the weights as the percentage of chance of that spawner being selected. Now the chances of the spawner that was just selected are less than before. This makes sure that no specific spawner will be selected more than a few times. You can clearly see that the spawners selected using the weight age system aren't repeating in those long rows. And so, to increase randomness, you decrease randomness. For selecting which mob to spawn, I had to change this method a little, as there are mobs that only spawn in a specific phase of the game, so I just decreased the chances of the selected mob from the spawn pool, and equally divided and distributed that amount to the rest of the mobs in the mob pool of that phase. I think I spent 2 days tweaking the spawning system to get it just right. I mean, most people will just not even give a second thought to the number of times a mob comes while playing. But if it wasn't done right, the repeated spawns would definitely break immersion and lose some points. Well, that was my story and experience while working on this project. I hope you enjoyed the video, and maybe the game as well. If you did, a like, a comment about the game or a subscription would be hugely appreciated.